fun. Crushing it already. Okay, cool. This is my first sleep coaching course. I'm super pumped. We're gonna go through some stuff today. So today is gonna be really kind of like an introduction on why this is important, even though you guys already know that this is important, which is why you're here. And then talking about kind of how the program's gonna be laid out, kind of the hierarchy of everything. And then some action items for you guys to kind of get started. So we are going to go into a lot more detail on more specific topics as the course goes along. But for today, we're going to keep it kind of high level. So benefits of sleep, we're going to go over the hierarchy of sleep optimization. And this is going to be the basis for the next couple of weeks. And then a 5-minute habit. And this is where you guys will always be able to go back to, is that 5-minute habit. And this applies to nutrition. This applies to like movement. This applies to like, even like if you wanted to like write the great American novel, just starting with a 5-minute thing is a great way to kind of get moving. So let's talk about why sleep is important. Looking through this slide here, this probably isn't any new information for you, but you can see there's various health benefits, athletic performance benefits, cognitive, and aesthetic benefits. It impacts almost all areas of our lives. Let's talk about, I'm going to go into health, athletic performance, and just kind of body comp here. You are less likely to get a cold if you are a good sleeper. This also applies to COVID. Same with the immune response. Higher qualities of sleep, so not just sleep duration, but the quality of sleep. You can also see a decrease in mortality and chronic health conditions like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative diseases, and a lot more. So if you have more questions on that, we can definitely get into more details on all of this. Same with athletic performance. If you get enough sleep, you decrease your chance of injury by 170%. That's a crazy amount. So that applies to us just in our like daily gym life, but then it also translates to athletes as well. Getting enough quality sleep, things are just going to feel easier. You're going to be less tired. You'll be able to lift more weight, increase your reaction times, bunch of other athletic performance as well. Getting into body composition. Enough sleep also can equate to eating fewer unneeded calories, up to 500 a day. So if you average that out throughout the week, that's about a pound a week. In addition to that, your hunger cues, which are tied into our hormones. So feeling hungry, feeling full will also be more aligned to like how what your body actually needs. And then just looking at muscle mass and body fat percentages, if you get people, this is a study who compared people who got 8.5 hours of sleep versus 5.5 hours of sleep. So people with more sleep lost more body fat and kept their muscle mass versus people who got less sleep. None of this is really shocking, but wanted to share some real high level benefits to getting enough sleep. So for our first activity, kind of going over those things, I'm sure you have specific reasons of why you want to improve your sleep, but I'm going to make you drill it down. I'm only going to take like a minute here. So if you need to take more time and really drill into this on your own, I'll send these slides over as well. So let's talk about what are the reasons why you want to improve your sleep. And I want you to kind of keep asking that question to yourself like 5 times. So you want to improve your sleep because you're sleepy all during the daytime. Well, why is that important to you? And if you're able to be less sleepy, like how will that be? Like, why is that important to you? What difference will that make? And why does that matter? So kind of take a minute here and go through a deeper dive into the reason why you showed up today. If this doesn't make sense though, give me a little chat comments and I can describe a little bit more detail, but I think most of you have done some type of exercise like this before. Just seeing if people are actually writing or thinking. Donna's quick at work. I like it. Monique is thinking in her head. I'm going to call on Peggy's jotting down a bunch of stuff. All right, we're going to call on Peggy really quick here, actually, because she's my mom. Hey, Peggy. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi.
So what is one of your reasons for wanting to improve your sleep?
Health.
Okay, and why is that important to you?
That's one, but I'll use mood instead.
Okay, and why is that important?
Increases enjoyment of life.
Okay, and why is that important to you?
A positive outlook on things.
Okay. And then if you had a more positive outlook on things, how would that change for you? Like, why is that important?
I think it would be pretty broad-based, one in terms of just improving relationships, desire to do more things, productivity, not necessarily in a concrete way, but just more activity and enjoyment during the day.
Cool. I'm going to ask one more time. Why would be improving and building upon relationships important to you?
Life satisfaction.
Okay. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is kind of drilling in a little bit more specific. So as we get more details, thank you, Peggy, for participating. So drilling down into the more deeper levels, when things get hard or when things aren't working, it's going to be able to tie you back into that overarching reason. Which is why I like to drill in a little bit deeper. So improved health or improved mood is a great way to start, but then having more important relationships and building upon that to increase your overall quality of life and life satisfaction is a little bit more meaningful. And it brings you back to it makes it, when the things get hard, it gives you more reason to keep coming back to it and trying to improve it. Does that make sense? Sweet. So if you didn't get to that level of detail, take a little bit of time with it. This might be something that you need to spend 5 or 10, 3 days kind of thinking about and kind of find that really true, deeper reason. Cool. All right, so we are going to get into what we can control with sleep then. So as we get into the causes of sleep issues, and we're going to get into the hierarchy of our sleep here, the magic little circle here is right in the center. We are going to focus on kind of our thoughts, perceptions, behaviors, habits, where you can actually have control and make the most amount of change. There are precipitating factors that can create a decreased quality of sleep or quantity. For example, having a newborn baby or changing a job or living in this global pandemic of COVID, where it's going to be a temporary, hopefully temporary with COVID, period of time, which you can't necessarily change. You can influence some of your behaviors and habits to make it better, but going through a new job is stressful, but also could be exciting, but you're not going to have much control over that. Same thing with the top circle here. There might be some other factors. This would be more lower stress tolerance, but also some health conditions may make an impact on that. So We're going to focus on things that we can control, but also has the biggest influence on making change to begin with anyways. So that's pretty cool. And why are, so just going back to the reason why we're going to talk about like the thoughts and behaviors. So quick question here. They did this study of after 4 to 8 weeks of insomnia treatment, how much increase of nightly sleep did they increase after that period? And they started to feel much, much better. So 0 minutes, 5 to 15, 30 to 60, or an hour to 2 hours. So they went through treatment, and then at the end of it, they're feeling like dramatically better. How much more sleep do you think that they got? If you said 5 to 15 minutes, you are correct. So the reason why I wanted to share this is one, just a small change can have a huge impact. So just be like, I don't know, more gracious to yourself as we're going through this, that even just a little bit of a change is going to make a big difference. Also, the timeline on it. So this is a 4 to 8 week period. It's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take a couple weeks. So just kind of continue to stay the course. And we're trying to throw like positive vibes, positive energy into this to keep kind of the negative thoughts from derailing the plan here. So if we look at the hierarchy of our sleep, the foundation here is going to be our behavior. So this is our thoughts, our habits, prioritizing sleep, kind of our emotions behind it. So you guys are all kind of coming into the gym and prioritizing, you know, strength training and cardiovascular improvement and stretching and, you know, trying to get more energy through movements. We struggle with prioritizing sleep and coming up with habits and behaviors around sleep the way that we do with movement or nutrition. So we're just going to kind of continue to follow that foundation with everything through here. So behaviors are going to be the very baseline, and I'll get into more examples of that in a second. Circadian rhythm. Some of you guys did the chronotype quiz already, but this gets into kind of like what your body naturally wants to do, the natural rhythm of your body. But then it also gets into getting exposed to sunlight at the start of your day and turning off devices at nighttime and kind of like getting your body to follow the natural way it wants to kind of live. Then we get into stress management. So this is our breathing techniques that you already do, but building upon that, meditation and other ways to manage stress. And then we get into lifestyle, which you guys are already doing a great job with movement, but they're getting into more nutrition, looking at alcohol, looking at coffee, caffeine drinks, etc. So if we look at our behaviors, negative thoughts and perceptions, or like the confidence in your ability to sleep, is going to have a huge impact. So we could change the temperature in your bedroom and get blackout curtains and do all this breathing and like meditation and cut out alcohol. But if you still don't believe in your ability to sleep, none of those things are going to make a huge impact. So focusing on the thoughts, focusing on prioritizing and creating goals around it, creating good, healthy routines. I was talking to somebody, Donna, yesterday about this. Like I typically go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning, regardless of the day of the week. And I know a lot of people like to get into the weekend, staying up later, sleeping in longer. And that just gets into a habit routine where it throws everything off. Questions so far? No? This all makes sense? People are smiling? Okay. I was hoping there was going to be some questions.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
So, okay, when you said insomnia treatment for 4 to 8 weeks, are we doing insomnia treatment? Is that like shock therapy? Like what is insomnia treatment?
Great question. So one, there's like 3 different types of insomnia. So there's like the short-lived one, there's like chronic, and then there's like situational insomnia. So I actually don't know what type of insomnia that they were doing. We are not doing shock therapy. So all of this is, it's more behavior based. So like they're probably cognitive behavior therapy, changing the structure, the sleep habits. So coming up with a routine, sleep ritual, you know, at 7 o'clock, you brush your teeth and then we turn the lights down. And you know what I mean? There's this whole like process that I'm sure that they followed. But I don't actually know the answer of the actual treatment, but I know it's not shock therapy. We're not doing shock therapy.
I was more thinking like, is that what was it trying to say? That's what we're doing right now. And so our expectation should be an improvement of 5 to 15 minutes, but we're going to be really happy with it.
Fair question. It was more that like a small change is probably going to make a huge impact. I think everyone has a different type of sleep, not sleep disorder, but has some type of disordered sleeping. So whether it's staying up too late, or waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to stay asleep, trying to like staying up a long time during the week and trying to catch up on sleep on the weekends. So everyone's going to be a little bit unique. That was just an example of specific insomnia type people. Cool. Eric.
The behavior stuff's really interesting. Was that like a peer reviewed find? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have all the research and stuff behind it, but yeah.
Cool.
Good question.
Okay. Thank you.
So does that kind of make sense? Tara, sorry.
Yeah, so I feel like I've heard about like how you have a sleep bank kind of. And so as someone who spent the past 4 years waking up in the middle of the night with children, I'm like, am I ever going to be able to recover? Like, do I just need to sleep for like 100 hours? And I guess I'm like, am I too far gone?
No, that's a great question. And that is, I think everyone probably has thoughts like that. Am I too far gone? Right? Like, this is just never going to happen for me. Peggy earlier today said she hasn't slept since I was born 40 years ago. So, yeah, so you can't actually ever catch up on sleep. Like, that's impossible, but you can start taking changes and then everything's going to kind of shift and you're going to get back to like the baseline. Yep.
Cool.
So you're not too far gone. It's possible. But you can't, like, if you slept for 100 years, you'll never be able to repay that bank. That's gone. That's no longer there, but you can get back to the baseline where you're feeling refreshed and having like good energy and like everything kind of works the way that you want it to work.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Cool. All right, we're going to talk about next steps. And then we are going to get into like drill into like way more information, but I wanted to kind of be, more, see what you guys wanted to learn about first. So a couple activities and then I'll open it up for questions again. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to send you off with a couple assignments for the weekend. And I want you to think about the best worst case scenario that you could do to support kind of your sleep tomorrow night into Sunday night. So you guys are all super smart, resourceful people. I'm sure you've heard all these different strategies of like why your sleep is good or bad or what contributes to it. So we're gonna spend the next couple of minutes and I'm gonna call on somebody, but like, what's the worst thing that you could do between tonight and tomorrow that would just make your sleep terrible? And then what would be like the absolute best scenario where your sleep would just be completely like in a best case scenario, like you set yourself up for success for like the best night of sleep ever. So think about that. And then we'll kind of talk about what that might look like. I feel like I'm going to call on Donna.
I was just saying, I don't know the best case, but I know the worst case is just like drink a ton and like eat a whole pizza or something.
Yeah. And I
feel like I like wake up with like heart palpitations in the middle of the night when I like eat bad at like, and eat at like 9 o'clock at night or like something stupid like that.
And because I know Donna, I feel like you could even make it a little bit worse. Like you like rock out with your band until like, and your show ends at like 12:30.
Yeah.
And then you pound, you know, a bunch of like beer and shots and then crush a pizza.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
We'll
Does
be
anyone
back.
have a thought of like what would be like an ideal, like the best case scenario, like sleep situation? There's no right or wrong answer here. This is like specific to you.
I can take a shot.
Go for it.
Yeah, my kids are not at my house. And I you know, turn off all like blue screen or devices and have some like tea, go in my room, turn the lights off, or just have like a nice glow and read a book and like
Yeah,
drift off to sleep and stay asleep for like 10 hours in a nice, cool but cozy environment.
I love it. Very good. Cool. Does anyone else want to share what their thoughts are?
I know always Epsom salt baths
Yeah,
are pretty great to
Yeah.
like really just calm my system down.
Perfect.
And then yeah, same. It's just cutting out tech, like it's tough, but like by at least 9.
Yeah.
And then I'm give myself that time because it's usually like the preparation that's the hardest part, like
sure.
preparing ahead, and then I get tired and then I fall asleep.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Good. Nice.
For me, it's like I need to go through a mental checklist to remind myself I don't have anything to be stressed out about tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that will let me keep sleeping.
Yeah, that's a great, we're going to talk about all of that. That's great. That's a good one. Okay, so what we're not trying to be perfect. We're not trying to get to like the perfect best case scenario. Like we don't live in that world. But what I want you to do for our next little activity, and then we're close to wrapping up, what would be a 5-minute action that you could start taking for the next week or so that you feel would make an impact on your sleep? And again, this is without knowing anything that I'm going to teach you later on, but you guys kind of know what would maybe impact or has impacted it in the past. But like a 5-minute activity, if you don't think of anything, I'm going to give some suggestions in a little bit, but think about something that would work for you with your current lifestyle and situation for the next week. If you think of anything, give me a hand raise. Percy, you got to unmute.
Yeah. Don't check my emails before I go to bed.
Love it. So how are you going to enforce that though?
Don't check my emails before I go to bed.
Okay.
Shut the door of my office and walk past it. 'Cause I don't take my phone to bed any longer either.
Cool.
So you
That's
don't
great.
wake up and first thing you do is
Yeah,
check
yeah.
your email. Just
Okay.
pisses you off.
So you're going to close the door to your office. You can't even.
Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Anyone else? 5-minute action or like 10-second action just to close the door. That's perfect. That's even better.
I never do it, but like stretching always sounds good to me, but it's in a
Okay.
different room. But I could do that in bed, I guess.
Oh, I think bed stretching is great.
Maybe I'll do that.
Okay. So a little stretch in bed before you go to bed. Or cool. Anyone else have any thoughts? Peggy? You have to unmute though.
Just doing the breathing exercises that we do in workouts.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, that's my fallback. Just the diaphragmatic breathing. But if you are familiar with the 4-7-8 breathing, it's an inhale for 4 seconds, pause for 7 seconds, exhale for 8. That's a really great kind of sleepy time breathing drill. And you could do that for like 2 minutes. Like it doesn't even have to be a full 5 minutes. That's a great one, Peggy. Cool. Donna?
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I need to do like that like gratitude journaling thing. Like, because I'm like, oh, if I just spend 5 minutes like thinking about like positive things, then maybe I can focus on those when I'm falling
I love
asleep instead of awful things.
No, that's great. I love that one. And we'll talk about that too. I was just mentioning the other day, I was doing this 5-minute journal. It's an app on your phone. It's free, but you talk about like 3 things you're grateful for. And I had gotten away with it, but I remembered that it existed as I was getting ready for this course. And the last time I did it was August 2020. So it's been a minute, but during the peak of COVID, it was like very comforting to me. And the last thing I said was, I'm grateful that my dog Zoe is still alive, and she's still alive, which is great. So she made it like another, what is that, 18 months. So yes, that was a really like nice little thing to reflect on too. Cool. So what I want you to do, either on your phone, ideally on a like pen and piece of paper, write down your 5-minute action. There's something magical that happens if you put pen to paper and just write down like what your 5-minute action is. So close my office door, gratitude, stretchy stuff. Cool.
I like Dave's a lot. And it just made me think like it seems like it would be stressful for me not to take my phone to bed. I don't look at it, but it's my alarm clock. But also actual alarm clocks exist.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. Maybe not today, but like, that's a great thought for like something to maybe do in the future. I love it. All right, so just to wrap up here, I'm gonna share my screen again. I'm gonna pull up the groups on the Paramount app. This is where I'm gonna store most of our information. So your homework for the week, I'm gonna show you how to access the groups. I'd like you to try to make sure that you can log in on your computer, because that's where all the information is gonna be shared. There's also a discussion board, so we can chat during the week. You're gonna start doing your 5-minute daily habit. On Monday, I'm gonna send everybody a questionnaire. This is just a quick, making sure that, or just discovering, make sure you don't have like a undiagnosed, maybe sleep apnea, and kind of looking at stress levels. It's gonna be a pretty quick one. And then we're gonna talk about starting a sleep diary. And so there'll be a form for that as well. And a sleep diary, really similar to a food diary, where just like what time you went to bed, what time you like actually like fell asleep. Did you feel sleepy during the day? Did you nap? How long did you nap for? Yada, yada, yada. Really simple. We'll keep track of that for a couple days. And then let's go. Has anyone actually logged into the Paramount app on your computer, or do you do everything on your phone? Phone? Okay. So let me show you. It's the same login information. We'll pull this up here. So it's train.paramountchicago.com is the login. And then you're going to see, this is a different view, but this is the view you're going to see. Pretty similar. There's a sleep coaching group. So there's a discussion board. This is where I'm going to put the video of this recording and any other recordings.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, sorry.
I'm like, am I crazy?
I'm not. You are correct. So it's train.paramountchicago.com. So if you want to try to pull that up right now and log in, there's a discussion board. We kind of get into, I'll share resources here. So the 5 whys that we went through already, but then the diary will be in here as well that you can track, but I'll make it a more editable form. The different questionnaires will be in here as well. That'll be up there on Monday. So train.paramountchicago.com. And I'm going to stop recording in a second here, but any other questions before I'm turn off the recording, and then we can ask like housekeeping questions?